Popular culture has long depicted the idea that machines and technology would one day surpass human civilization. From science fiction stories to movies portraying artificial intelligence taking over the world, these depictions, often humorous or exaggerated, contain unsettling grains of truth. Technology, in its essence, was created to ease human life, making everyday tasks faster and more efficient. And while that promise has been fulfilled in many ways, allowing us to communicate instantly, access vast information, and automate countless processes, there's another side to this progress, one that is far less talked about but profoundly impactful. At the heart of this lies the concept of algorithms. Algorithms are tools designed to solve problems and streamline operations. They seem neutral, just lines of code following instructions. But behind that neutrality lies an intricate system developed to capture your attention, influence your choices, and, ultimately, control your habits. Today, companies rake in billions by harnessing your focus. Your attention has become a commodity, traded in markets you don't even know exist. Every scroll, every like, every moment you linger on a post contributes to a vast data network designed to predict, and manipulate, your behavior. We find ourselves in a strange paradox. Despite living in an age where technology should free us from tedious tasks, we've become more enslaved to our devices than ever before. Social anxiety, depression, and feelings of emptiness are on the rise, and it's no coincidence. We spend hours glued to screens, scrolling through endless content, searching for something that seems just out of reach. But what if the very systems designed to entertain and inform us are also the ones feeding our dissatisfaction? Understanding algorithms is not just a matter of tech savviness, it's essential for reclaiming your autonomy. While it's tempting to blame technology outright, the truth is more nuanced. Algorithms themselves aren't inherently evil, they're tools, capable of good or harm depending on their use. Imagine a knife, it can prepare food or cause injury. Similarly, algorithms can help us find educational resources, stay connected with loved ones, or discover new hobbies. But they can also trap us in echo chambers, exploit our insecurities, and keep us hooked in an endless cycle of consumption. Let's start with the basics. What is an algorithm? In its simplest form, it's a set of instructions to solve a problem. Think of following a recipe: you gather ingredients, follow steps, and produce a meal. Algorithms in technology work similarly but on a vastly more complex scale. When you search for a song, receive movie recommendations, or see tailored ads, that's an algorithm at work. In social media, they decide what posts you see, which friends' updates appear first, and what videos autoplay next. On the surface, this personalization seems helpful. After all, who wouldn't want content curated to their tastes? But here lies the trap: these systems are not designed to serve your best interests, they're designed to keep you engaged. Why? Because your engagement equals profit. The longer you stay on an app, the more ads you see. The more ads you see, the more money platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok make. Your time is not just valuable, it's their business model. This is why platforms are engineered to be addictive. Every design choice, from the color of notification badges to the timing of alerts, is meticulously planned to hijack your attention. Those bright red notification dots? They're red because red triggers urgency. The infinite scroll feature? Created to remove stopping cues so you never feel the need to put your phone down. We like to think we're in control, that we decide when to check our phones or what content to consume. But how often have you found yourself opening an app just for a minute and then, without realizing, an hour has passed? That's not a lack of willpower, it's the result of deliberate psychological engineering. Platforms employ behavioral scientists who understand human psychology better than we do ourselves. They exploit our natural tendencies, curiosity, fear of missing out, desire for approval, and turn them into tools for profit. One of the most significant effects of this constant digital bombardment is the shrinking of our attention spans. Studies show that our ability to focus has diminished dramatically over the past decade. Quick-hit content, 15-second videos, rapid-fire memes, bite-sized headlines, trains our brains to crave instant gratification. We become impatient with anything that requires sustained attention. Reading a book, having a deep conversation, or working on a long-term project becomes increasingly difficult. It's not that we've become lazy, our brains are being rewired. This rewiring affects more than just productivity, it changes how we relate to others. Social media platforms present the illusion of connection. With a few taps, you can talk to hundreds of people. But these digital interactions lack the richness of face-to-face communication. In person, we pick up on tone, body language, and subtle cues that don't translate through text or emojis. Over time, heavy reliance on online interactions can leave us feeling more isolated, even if we're constantly connected. Moreover, these platforms foster environments that exploit our psychological vulnerabilities. Ever noticed how outrage spreads faster online than calm, reasoned discussion? That's by design. Content that triggers strong emotions, anger, fear, excitement, is more likely to be shared. Algorithms prioritize engagement above all else, and nothing engages more than controversy. It's why divisive posts flood timelines and why misinformation can spread like wildfire. False information often travels faster and further than the truth, not because people seek to be misled, but because sensationalism grabs attention. Consider this: in the months leading up to the 2020 U.S. elections, studies revealed that millions were exposed to misinformation circulated by coordinated networks. Many people who encountered these falsehoods had never engaged with the pages spreading them. The algorithm didn't care if the information was true or false, only that it generated clicks, comments, and shares. This phenomenon doesn't just influence political views, it shapes public opinion on everything from health decisions to social issues. Then there's the issue of surveillance capitalism, the commodification of personal data. Every app you use, every site you visit, collects information about you, your interests, location, purchase history, and even emotional states. Companies use this data to build detailed profiles that predict your behavior with astonishing accuracy. That creepy feeling when you mention something in conversation and later see an ad for it? That's no accident. Technology companies track not just what you do but often what you think you might do. The goal is simple: anticipate your needs before you're even aware of them, making you more likely to spend, click, or stay engaged. We're sold the convenience of personalization. Look how helpful it is that this app knows my preferences. But at what cost? When an algorithm feeds you content it thinks you'll like, it may reinforce biases, limit exposure to new ideas, and keep you within a narrow worldview. Over time, this can lead to polarization, making it harder to understand or empathize with differing perspectives. The more you see one side of an issue, the more right it feels, and the more wrong the opposing side appears. This echo chamber effect divides societies, families, and friendships. Yet, perhaps the most insidious aspect of these systems is how they manipulate dopamine-driven feedback loops. Every like, comment, and notification triggers a small pleasure response in the brain. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. The unpredictability of rewards, sometimes you get a comment, sometimes you don't, keeps you coming back. This variable reward system is highly effective. It's why people compulsively check their phones, even when they know there's probably nothing new. These patterns of behavior have real-world consequences. Sleep disruption, reduced productivity, heightened anxiety, and diminished capacity for deep thinking are all linked to excessive digital consumption. But despite knowing this, many find it incredibly hard to break the cycle. The convenience and instant gratification offered by technology are simply too tempting. While it's tempting to place all the blame on technology, the responsibility also lies with us. We've allowed these platforms to infiltrate every aspect of our daily lives. We check our phones first thing in the morning, use them while eating, and scroll through social media late into the night. What once was a tool has now become an extension of ourselves, almost like an appendage we can't live without. But at what cost? The constant influx of information, notifications, and digital noise has created a culture of hyperstimulation where stillness and silence are uncomfortable. The consequences of this hyper-connected lifestyle go beyond just wasted time. One of the most alarming effects is how social media distorts our perception of reality. Platforms are designed to show you content that keeps you engaged, but this often means presenting you with a warped version of the world. When you constantly see images of people living perfect lives, traveling to exotic places, and achieving endless success, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. This comparison breeds dissatisfaction and insecurity, making you believe that your life is somehow lacking. But here's the truth: much of what we see online is curated, filtered, and sometimes completely fabricated. Influencers stage photos, edit their bodies, and selectively share only the highlights of their lives. Yet, even when we logically understand this, our emotional response often tells a different story. We compare our behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel, and it leaves us feeling inadequate. This phenomenon isn't just an individual issue, it's a societal one, contributing to rising rates of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. Ironically, platforms marketed as ways to connect people often end up making us feel more disconnected. Online interactions, though convenient, lack the richness and nuance of face-to-face communication. Facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, these vital aspects of human connection are lost in texts, emojis, and comment threads. And while virtual friendships can be meaningful, relying solely on digital connections can leave us feeling hollow. Nothing replaces the warmth of sharing a laugh with a friend in person or the comfort of a real hug. Moreover, social media fosters a culture of instant gratification. In the digital world, everything is just a click away: food delivery, entertainment, shopping, validation. Need attention? Post a selfie and wait for the likes to roll in. Want to feel informed? Skim through headlines without reading full articles. This ease of access is convenient, but it also trains us to expect quick fixes in all areas of life. When gratification isn't immediate, we become frustrated and restless. This mindset seeps into our work, relationships, and even our personal goals, making patience and long-term planning seem outdated. But perhaps the most dangerous aspect of these platforms is how they exploit our psychological biases. Humans naturally seek information that confirms what we already believe, a tendency known as confirmation bias. Algorithms capitalize on this, feeding us content that aligns with our views while filtering out opposing perspectives. Over time, this creates echo chambers, isolating us from differing opinions and reinforcing narrow worldviews. The result? Increasing polarization, not just in politics but in virtually every area of society. It's no coincidence that divisive content spreads like wildfire. Anger, outrage, and fear are highly engaging emotions. When you're angry at a post or shocked by a headline, you're more likely to comment, share, and react, and that's exactly what platforms want. They don't prioritize truth or nuance, they prioritize engagement. This is why misinformation often goes viral while factual, balanced information languishes unnoticed. In fact, studies show that false information spreads 6 times faster than the truth. It's not because people want to be misled, but because sensational stories are more compelling. Take, for example, the lead-up to the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Research revealed that content from misinformation networks reached millions of users, many of whom had never previously engaged with those sources. The algorithms detected engagement patterns and amplified the content, regardless of its accuracy. This isn't just about politics, it's about how easily public perception can be manipulated when information is weaponized. Beyond misinformation, algorithms also play a significant role in consumer behavior. Have you ever talked about a product and then seen ads for it moments later? It's not a coincidence. Companies use sophisticated tracking tools to monitor your online activity, conversations, in some cases through microphone permissions, and even your location. This data is compiled into detailed profiles that predict what you might want, often before you realize it yourself. While some people appreciate the convenience of personalized ads, it raises serious privacy concerns. How much of yourself are you willing to trade for targeted convenience? And it doesn't stop at advertising. Surveillance capitalism, the practice of commodifying personal data, is now the backbone of the digital economy. Your likes, searches, and purchases are all part of a data-driven system designed to influence your decisions subtly. Even the way products are marketed plays on psychological triggers. Limited time offers create urgency, scarcity tactics induce panic buying, and reviews are manipulated to sway opinions. We like to believe we make rational choices, but much of our behavior is shaped by unseen forces operating behind the screens. Another psychological mechanism at play is the variable reward system, the same principle used in slot machines. You post a photo, and sometimes it gets lots of likes, other times, it doesn't. This unpredictability is addictive. The brain craves the dopamine hit that comes from being rewarded, and when rewards are inconsistent, we're compelled to keep checking. It's why people refresh social media feeds repeatedly, hoping for new notifications. Platforms exploit this compulsion, ensuring you spend as much time as possible in their digital ecosystems. This constant engagement isn't without consequences. Chronic phone use has been linked to sleep disturbances, reduced productivity, and increased stress levels. Notifications interrupt conversations, meals, and work, fragmenting our attention and making it difficult to focus deeply on any one task. Over time, this scattered attention erodes our ability to think critically and solve complex problems. What's even more concerning is how children and teenagers, whose brains are still developing, are especially vulnerable. Growing up in a digital environment where validation comes from likes and follower counts can warp self-esteem. Cyberbullying, social exclusion, and the pressure to present a perfect online persona contribute to mental health challenges. Schools and parents often struggle to keep up with the rapid pace of technological change, leaving young people to navigate these complexities largely on their own. Despite all this, it's important to recognize that technology itself isn't inherently bad. Social media has enabled incredible things, connecting distant relatives, raising awareness for important causes, and giving a voice to marginalized communities. The problem arises when these tools are designed primarily to extract as much attention as possible, regardless of the cost to individual well-being and societal health. So, what can we do? Awareness is the first step. Recognize that when you open an app, you're stepping into a carefully engineered environment designed to keep you there. Start by questioning the content you consume. Why is this being shown to me? Is it valuable, or is it just a distraction? Be selective about what you engage with, and resist the urge to mindlessly scroll. Setting boundaries is equally important. Consider establishing phone-free times during meals, before bed, and upon waking up. Take breaks from social media altogether. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, you'll notice improved focus, reduced anxiety, and deeper connections with the world around you. Cultivate offline hobbies that bring genuine fulfillment, reading, exercising, spending time with loved ones without the constant pull of notifications. It's also crucial to diversify your information sources. Make a conscious effort to read from different perspectives, even those you disagree with. Engage in face-to-face conversations where nuance and empathy can thrive. Real-life discussions rarely descend into the hostility seen in online comment sections. Reclaiming your attention requires effort, but the reward is regaining control over your mind and choices. Lastly, remember the words of philosopher Immanuel Kant, dare to think for yourself. In a world where algorithms are constantly shaping what you see, hear, and believe, critical thinking is a form of rebellion. Don't let platforms dictate your values, opinions, or how you spend your precious time. Technology should be a tool for empowerment, not a chain that binds you to endless scrolling. It's easy to assume that technology's grip on us is too strong to break, that the systems in place are simply too powerful. But while these platforms are designed to be addictive, we are not powerless. The first and most crucial step toward reclaiming control is to recognize how these tools are shaping our behaviors. Every time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, am I using this device, or is it using me? Awareness alone won't solve the problem, but it's the foundation for meaningful change. One of the most effective ways to regain autonomy is by setting intentional boundaries. Start with small changes. Disable non-essential notifications, move distracting apps off your home screen, or designate certain times of the day as phone-free zones. These steps may seem trivial, but over time, they help retrain your brain to focus without constant digital interruptions. Imagine sitting down for a meal without the urge to check your phone, or going for a walk where you actually notice the world around you instead of mindlessly scrolling. Reintroducing moments of stillness into your day can do wonders for your mental clarity and overall well-being. Another essential practice is digital minimalism, the idea that less is more when it comes to technology use. Instead of following hundreds of accounts or subscribing to endless channels, be selective. Ask yourself, does this content add value to my life? Does it inspire, educate, or genuinely entertain me? If not, let it go. Curating your digital environment to reflect your true interests and values creates a more meaningful online experience. You'll find that consuming less, but with greater intention, leads to deeper satisfaction. Equally important is the act of reclaiming real-life connections. The convenience of sending a quick text or reacting to a social media post can't replace the richness of in-person interactions. Make time to meet friends face-to-face, call family members, or engage in community events. There's a unique kind of fulfillment that comes from shared laughter, meaningful conversations, and physical presence, experiences that no digital platform can fully replicate. Rebuilding these offline connections helps combat the isolation that excessive technology use often brings. When it comes to information consumption, critical thinking is your best defense. In an age where algorithms feed you personalized content based on past behaviors, it's easy to become trapped in a bubble of confirmation bias. Challenge yourself to seek out diverse perspectives. Read from various sources, especially those that present views different from your own. Practice verifying information before sharing it, especially content that evokes strong emotional reactions. False information thrives on outrage, but reasoned skepticism can stop its spread. And then there's the issue of consumerism. Social media platforms aren't just places to connect, they're massive marketplaces designed to keep you buying. Every targeted ad, influencer promotion, and sponsored post aims to convince you that happiness lies in the next purchase. But true fulfillment rarely comes from acquiring more stuff. By recognizing these manipulative tactics, you can make more conscious choices. Ask yourself, do I really need this, or am I being sold a fleeting feeling? Redirecting your attention away from impulsive consumption frees up energy for more meaningful pursuits. Despite all these strategies, the reality remains, technology isn't going anywhere. Social media, algorithms, and digital platforms are now woven into the fabric of modern life. So the goal isn't total disconnection, it's mindful engagement. Technology can be a powerful tool for learning, creativity, and connection, but only if we use it with intention. Let it serve you, not enslave you. One way to foster healthier habits is by reintroducing boredom into your life. In a world where entertainment is always a tap away, boredom has become almost extinct. Yet, it's precisely in those quiet, unstimulated moments that creativity flourishes. Allow yourself to sit in silence, to let your mind wander. Resist the urge to fill every spare second with digital noise. You might be surprised at the clarity and inspiration that emerges when you give your brain space to breathe. Another approach is reconnecting with nature. Studies consistently show that spending time outdoors improves mood, reduces stress, and enhances focus. Whether it's a hike in the woods, a stroll in the park, or simply sitting under the sky, nature offers a powerful antidote to digital overload. It reminds us of the world beyond screens, the textures, smells, and sounds that ground us in the present moment. And perhaps most importantly, cultivate a sense of gratitude and contentment with what you already have. Social media thrives on making you feel like you're missing out, that your life isn't exciting enough, that you need the latest trend or experience to be happy. But fulfillment often comes from appreciating the simple things: a conversation with a loved one, a quiet evening with a book, or the warmth of the sun on your face. By focusing on what truly matters, you loosen the grip of digital comparison and rediscover the richness of everyday life. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. You can continue to drift along the current of algorithms, letting platforms dictate your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, or you can take back the reins. It won't be easy. It requires effort, awareness, and sometimes going against the grain of what's become normal. But the reward is invaluable: regaining your time, your attention, and ultimately, your sense of self. Remember, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Your attention is the most valuable currency in the digital age. Don't spend it carelessly. Be deliberate. Be mindful. And most importantly, be present. As philosopher Immanuel Kant urged centuries ago, Sapir Ode. Dare to think for yourself. In a world where algorithms constantly whisper what to believe, what to buy, and how to feel, critical thinking isn't just a skill, it's an act of rebellion. Don't let technology rob you of your autonomy. Use it wisely, and you'll find that while the digital world is vast and captivating, the real world, the one outside your screen, is where life truly happens.